Will Davey, more portfolios, currently only running one. My tip for everyone is to get... Do you limit max orders as well, or both? My max orders is set to every set file. Stuart, any chance on delayed trade sequence? Delayed trade sequence you can't change unless you change it in... Do you know when will indices be available in power counts? I don't really know, to be honest. It's not something that I deal with. It all depends on the broker. If a set file has been performing following 6-month optimization work, what 1 or 2 variables would you tweak to tune? So you can't change any input on a set file apart from, as always, I am trying my best, and I'll try and give you some secret sauce today, because that's what it's all about. So yeah, there we go. Scale of 1 to 10, if you could type in the chat, 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being amazing, you feel amazing. 1 being you're not feeling amazing. If you could just type it in the chat, just a number. 7. You're not allowed to say 7. 7 doesn't count. 7 doesn't mean anything. It's neither good or bad. So someone wrote 7. 9 personally, about 6 for trading. 10, happy days. 9, 7.1. Nice, mate. 8, 9 when I get on the boat later. Jealous, man. Jealous. All right, now what I want you to do is type, if you could use a scale of 1 to 10 on how you feel about your trading at the moment. 1 to 10 on how you feel about your trading at the moment. Will Davey, you're a 5, but you've got about 8 grand waiting to be withdrawn. 7.521. 10. Aaron Fraser. Come on. 6, 8, 5 in a slow week. Slow weeks are good weeks. Slow weeks are good weeks. All right. So now what I want you to do, just last thing, what I want you to do, I just want you to write, for anyone that didn't write a 10, I just want you to write 1 sentence or 2 sentences, whatever you want to do, on what would take your trading from where it is right now to a 9 or a 10. Yeah. What's missing? What do you feel like you need to take your trading up a level? Just 1 sentence. Could be 1 word, 2 words. What do you feel like you need to improve your trading? Your tips for today. 95% confidence in my sets. More portfolios. Currently only running 1. Better use of stop losses. More accurate entries. Interesting stuff. So 95% confidence in my sets. That one got me, because I guess that, like, I guess it's about defining what you actually mean by that. You know, what would give you confidence in your sets? Yeah, what would give you that confidence? For me, that confidence came this year from having super low risk management. I literally stripped all my risk back, so it starts so low now, and the confidence I have in my trading has gone through the roof, because now I'm not freaking out about drawdown. Yeah, I'm not freaking out about, I don't feel the need to check my accounts every second of the day, and it is such a game changer for my confidence in my trading and in my set files. And that is why I constantly preach risk management, because everyone gets it wrong, including myself. Yeah, it takes a long time for you to get it right. Yeah, and I think it has to come from you. It has to come from, like, it literally has to come from within. I don't want to sound like too wishy-washy, but it's true. You have to go through that change where you're like not feeling the need to be greedy, not feeling the need to make thousands of pounds every single day, not feeling like you're missing out, fear of missing out on this, fear of missing out on that. I'm not banking enough. I'm not going to pass the challenge. Like, once you get rid of all that and you just accept it, and accept that trading is a long game and it takes time, and you don't need to trade at that level of risk. Once you remove all that, all them feelings and emotions, then this whole game completely changes. It took me years to be able to accept it, years and years and years. And that come from a lot of work on myself, a lot of bad experiences, a lot of learning, you know, a lot of that stuff, and being able to, like, truly just strip it all back and be like, okay, I was the problem. It's not the EA that's the problem. You know, there are things that we can do to improve risk management and improve our set files and stuff like that, and strategy, etc. And hopefully, like, I've been giving you a lot of information to be able to do that. But the real change has to come from you, and it's really hard to explain until you get to that point. I remember people telling me this. I had different mentors in different areas, and I never really understood it until it clicked, and I was like, fuck, like, now it all makes sense. And that was this year. So yeah, just wanted to share that. Will Davey, more portfolios, currently only running one. My tip for everyone is to get as many set files as possible set up. Like, let's say, for example, so if you watch the last Q&A or the one before, or if you're brand new, welcome to the group, by the way. But I shared a advanced portfolio method. Now I call it advanced, but it's not actually that advanced. It's just a process that I'm using, and I've tried to teach a lot of other people, and it works really, really well. And that is basically having portfolios that are your testing portfolios. These portfolios are just a mix of different pairs, different strategies, different set files, and they're just testing. They're just building data. And then you've got your main portfolios. Now, your main portfolios are made up of all of your best set files. Yeah, your best set files are identified through having a low max sequence number. So if the max sequence of the set file is 1 to 4, then that means it can go onto your main portfolio. Okay, hopefully you're with me so far. Now the testing portfolios, you have to get as many things as running as possible. You want diversification. You want you want diversification. You want different pairs running. You want different strategies running. Trend, range, against trend if you want, different indicators, blah blah blah. You're not going to copy these testing portfolios. You're only going to copy the main portfolios. Yeah. So for example, I actually went through this last night, but I had like 3 portfolios that are running a huge amount of sets. Now, let's say I've got 100 set files altogether. I transferred 25 into my main portfolio. That portfolio is now really, really robust. It's made up of all my best set files that are opening 1 to 4 trades in a max sequence. I know from doing my testing, from running in the live market, that I can be confident that I'm not going to see huge sequences on my account, which means I'm going to limit the amount of drawdown I'm seeing. Yeah. And this is really, really important. Now, that's not going to last forever. Nothing lasts forever. All good things come to an end. Yeah. Again, have to accept that. You have to be at peace with that. You know, if something's running really well and then all of a sudden something happens and it goes 15, 20 trades in the sequence, don't be attached to it. Don't be emotionally attached and get annoyed and think that you've done something wrong and I made a bad decision. You didn't. You just work with what you've got. Yeah, because nothing lasts forever and it's going to happen one day, but we have to plan for that. But also I can be at peace and I have confidence in it because I've done all the right things and I've picked out the best sets. And now with this portfolio, which is my main portfolio, the opportunities are endless because now I can copy it over to ftmo. I can copy it over to cent accounts, instant funding. I can copy it over to DarwinX and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Now these testing portfolios, once you've copied the sets to your main portfolio, you then re-optimize the set files that you've transferred across because you don't want to run them on 2 different portfolios. You don't need them. So you've already transferred them. Now it's time to re-optimize them. Make a list. What strategies were they running? What pairs? Run exactly the same strategies, exactly the same pairs. Replace them, get that data built in again. Yeah. The set files that open 5 to 12 trades in a max sequence, you're going to add a live delay to keep them running. The set files that open 13 to 20 trades in a sequence, you're going to re-optimize and replace. Now, these testing portfolios are just constantly building data over and over and over again. Yeah. And then you can just start to build main portfolios. Yeah. Now, if you're limited to, let's say, 5 licenses, you might have 1 portfolio that's just running a huge amount of sets, or you might have 2, and then you can have 2 or 3 main portfolios. Now, on your 2 or 3 main portfolios, you might only have 5 sets running, or you might decide, okay, on my main portfolios, I don't want more than 10 sets running. Yeah. And so on and so on. Hopefully that will make sense. Let me know if it doesn't. Let me just read through the chat just for a second before I dive into what I want to show you. Better use of stop losses. I'm guessing you're referring to red alert because I know you like to use red alert. More accurate entries. That's where live delay comes into it. One thing that really helped me was opening up MT5. So I'll show you an example. Opening up MT5. If you look at the chart, add in the EMAs to the chart. So I run most of my set files on higher time frames. So I've got my chart set to H4, for example. I've added the EMAs that I'm using. So I look at the set file. Most of them are using 200, can't remember off the top of my head, 250, 10 or 150-10, and I put them onto the chart. And then when I see a set file go into a big sequence, I'm like, okay, where would I like the entry to be? You know, if I see a sequence of 10 on this chart, and I look at the set file in the terminal, and I'm like, okay, this has gone to 10 trades in the sequence. Where would I like it to enter? Probably like it to enter on, you know, the 8th trade. So I'm going to put my live delay at 7. Now I've improved my entry. It means I'm going to have to be a lot more patient, but I'm going to get a much better entry if it happens again. That's one way of doing it. Another way is just to run a single test on MT5, look at the set, add live delay, and filter it down based on that. Based on the last Q&A. If you're new to this probably doesn't make any sense. But if you rewatch the last Q&A, I went through this in detail. And to be honest, like live delay, absolute game changer in terms of improving your entries. Again, if your risk is low enough, it shouldn't really matter that much. It shouldn't really matter. Like if your risk is really high, then you're freaking out about bad entries and freaking out about drawdown and freaking out about XYZ. If your risk is really low, you don't even worry about all that. Just let it do its thing, go about your day, come back to it at the end of the day, have a look. Okay, I banked $200, happy days, move on. I'm good EP, but even after 6 months backtesting, if something still goes wrong. I would ask you to define what you mean as going wrong, yeah? Because hitting an EP doesn't mean you've gone wrong. Hitting an EP means you made a good decision to set an EP, yeah? It doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. Like someone said to me yesterday, in fact, I've only got one portfolio that works. It's like, okay, so what do you define as the others not working? If it's just because they're going into drawdown, then that doesn't mean that it's not working, because you're always going to go into drawdown. Yeah, there's always going to be drawdown at some stage. So it's about making sure you use low enough risk that you're not emotionally attached to it. Yeah, if you're hitting EPs often, then your risk is too high. Yeah, but it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. All you can do is follow the process. Yeah, again, that took me a long time to accept. I used to have exactly the same feelings. Done everything right, go on my account, hit an EP. Fuck's sake, what happened? What did I do wrong? I really messed up. Is it me? Is it the EA? All these thoughts come into play. Everything else follows suit, starts affecting the rest of your life, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. When I decided to strip back all my risk management and use really low risk, all of a sudden I'm not hitting EPs. I've added a lot of sets to it, so I'm still banking enough profit, but I'm nowhere near hitting an EP, and I'm not even bothered if it does, because setting an EP is a good decision, because you're protecting your capital. And the number one rule of trading is to protect your capital at all times. Do you limit max orders as well, or both? My max orders is set to 20 on every set file, to be honest. Again, not saying that's right or wrong. I base it off of the max sequence number that I see in Portfolio Builder and the max sequence number I see when running live. What happens in MT5, and this is really important, if you're new to this game and you're new to POW, I want you to really understand that, like, what happens in MT5 is completely different to what happens when running live. Yeah, they are two different things. So you can't like do all your stuff in MT5 and think, oh, it's going to be happy days forever. This is why I don't get too carried away with the profit and the drawdown that I see in Portfolio Builder, because the flaw of MT5 is that it can overfit your set files. It can overfit your backtest very easily. This isn't an EA thing, it's an MT5 thing. You could use any EA in the world and the same thing would happen. Yeah, you can really overfit your backtest, and that means even though you've seen a max sequence of 3 in the backtest, it can still go to 15 or 20 when you run live. So you have to plan for the worst case scenario. And by doing that, you will then be at peace if it happens. Yeah. So for example, I see a max sequence of 3. I'm going to choose my lot sizes based off of if this goes to 15 or 20 in a sequence. Yeah. Because I know if that then happens, I don't need to worry because I've planned for it. But if you don't plan for it, then there's going to be a shock when it happens. And you're going to be like, hang on a minute, what have I done wrong? Maybe the EA is wrong, maybe blah, blah, blah. But you need to plan for that. So by planning for the worst case scenario will change the whole game for you. And then one thing I would say is like, just focus more on what happens live. Don't worry about MT5, like obviously worry about it because that's the first step of the process. But like what happens in MT5 is just, you're just getting the settings. What happens live is all that matters. Yeah, that is literally all that matters. Like I always say, yeah, if you was to go to a hedge fund or if you was to go to any other trading thing, professional trading thing, and they was to say, and you was to try and get some capital and some investment, they would say, okay, show us some data. You can't show them MT5 backtest, because anyone can do that. You would have to show real live results. This is what's happened in the live market for the past 12 months. These are my results. This is my max drawdown. This is my exposure, blah, blah, blah. That's all that matters. Yeah. Again, once you get your head around that and you accept it, then it becomes much, much easier to make good decisions. Last couple of questions before I dive into it. How many set files can you have in one terminal? As many as you want, as many as you want. I wouldn't go overboard and run like 100. I've got a terminal that's running 50 set files, I think. All depends on what VPS you're using as well. But yeah, I've got something that's running 50 set files and it's fine. All right, so let me just share my screen. In fact, before I share my screen, I'm going to share with you a strategy today that has just been amazing. It's been unbelievable. It requires no backtesting whatsoever. If you're using the instant funded accounts, the low leverage accounts, especially if you're a new member or an existing member that already has one of these accounts, this strategy is perfect for that. It's why I actually started looking into it and tried to create it, basically, because I've got one of the instant funded accounts, the low leverage ones. I wanted to scale it up to 1 million, but I'm finding it hard because it's really low leverage. So this is where this strategy came about, and about diving into it and looking and seeing what happens in the live market. And it's ideal for that. So it means you can start trading it straight away because I've already done the work for you. But I'm also going to teach you how to set it up. Now, if you're going to run this on the instant funded account, my advice is to either just stick to one pair or two pairs where you can't hedge. You can't hedge on the instant funded account. So you could run, let's say, long only on EU, and you could run short only on GU because they're, kind of correlated. So that would work. Yeah, but I would just say don't run like 10 different pairs if you're on like the 50k instant funded, unless you're going to use really low lot sizes. Yeah, but let me just share with this for you because it's amazing. I have called it the ADR Reversal Strategy. Okay, so what it is I found this website, offbeatforex.com, and this guy has basically put all the forex pairs into one table and wrote the max ADR that was seen each year on each pair, which is amazing, right? ADR being average daily range, yeah, so the amount they move in one day. So what I decided to do was then upload this into ChatGPT, so you can see it here. I copied the link into ChatGPT and I asked it to basically summarize it for me and make it easier to analyze. Let me just come back to chat and make sure it's running. Make it easier to analyze, and I basically listed 10 pairs, yeah, so I asked it to look at 10 different pairs and then give me the max ADR that is seen on each pair since the ADR has been running, because it hasn't been running forever. Yeah. Then I asked it to calculate a pip step, which was 50% of the max ADR. Yeah. So for example, let's say the max ADR is 76 as an example, the pip step would be 50% of that. Yeah. I then asked it to give me a take profit, which is 30% of that pip step. And then I just literally uploaded this into the EA, okay? No other indicators, no other settings. That was literally it. And what I found was it turned it into a hedging and averaging strategy. So profits were building up really high, but so was the drawdown. And I didn't really like it, even though it was banking really well. Just didn't really like sitting in drawdown all the time. So then I was like, why don't I just add a live delay to it? Which, if you're new, live delay basically delay trades. Yeah. So if I put a live delay of 3, the first 3 trades won't be taken, but they will be taken when the 4th trade gets met. So it means you get a much better entry. Yeah. So what I've seen is, so I ran this live, and then based off of what I saw live, I saw that it was different it was kind of similar on most pairs, but like pairs like Euro NZD and Euro JPY had a higher max sequence. But I noticed the max sequence on most pairs was in between 3 and 5. So that was over a 2-month period. So I was like, why don't I just add a live delay of either 2 or 3 so that I enter right at the end of either big move or the end of a big trend. So I'm entering, I'm getting a really nice entry, and then I'm riding it all the way back down until it hits take profit. So that means that I'm going to cancel out all the drawdown. I'm not going to see that. There still is going to be drawdown, of course, but it means I'll get a much better entry, and it's a reversal strategy. So I don't get the build up of drawdown. Okay, it's been unbelievable. I'll show you the results in a second. Now, one thing I'll say is, if you had a live delay of 1, it's really aggressive. You're gonna have a much higher trade volume, and it's not quite what I'm looking for in terms of a reversal strategy. So I wouldn't run this personally. Expect a lot more DD. Yeah, a live delay of 2 for me has been the sweet spot. Yeah, so I'm seeing medium trade volume. For some pairs, it's a lot more than others. So the more volatile pairs, such as like Euro JPY, Euro USD, blah blah blah, you're going to see more trade volume with that. Yeah, some pairs are not gonna. You're going to be waiting a while for a trade to be taken, and that's okay. You have to be patient with it. Like when it takes a trade, it will take a trade. Yeah, don't try and force it and start lowering the live delay because you want to see more trades, because then you're just going against the strategy. You have to be patient and just let it play out. I know there'll be a lot of questions of like, oh, I'm not seeing any trades on my account. Is there something wrong? There's nothing wrong. Let it do its thing. A live delay of 3, I did start with this. However, I was waiting like 3 weeks for a trade to be taken, which for me was a little bit too long. With a live delay of 3, you're going to get a really, really, really nice entry, like almost perfect entry, but you're going to be waiting weeks for it to happen. So if you're really patient, then that's for you. When it hits take profit of a live delay of 3, unbelievable, but you're going to have to be really patient. Now, the key thing here is to be patient, because you're going to have to hold these trades for quite long. They're not just going to open and close within a matter of minutes or hours. Like sometimes you could be, waiting 2 weeks for a trade to actually close. That's okay. Like it will close when it's ready, and let it play out. I actually closed a couple because they was really close to take profit, and I was like, as I looked at my phone, they was there, so I was like, I might as well close it. But other than that, I just let it do its thing. And then I've put some lot size recommendations for this. So low risk, you would put your lot size in between 0.01 and 0.1, because you put a live delay, your first trade is going to be higher than that anyway. Yeah, it's not going to be that low, it's going to be higher than that. Medium risk is what I'm going to show you in a second. Unbelievable for I would say for challenges, cent accounts, any other funded accounts that you've got with more leverage and more room. Medium risk would be perfect. I've got 10 pairs running. The max drawdown that I've seen has been 1k. I haven't seen any more than that since I've been doing it. And then high risk would be anything above 0.25. I am thinking to do this to pass a challenge and then bring it down to medium risk when I'm funded. Okay, so I will put a set file template for you to load up as well. Hopefully that will make sense. Let me know if it doesn't. So let me just dive into the VPS. Okay, so here we go. 9 pairs running. I actually removed one. Can't remember what pair it was. I think it was gold, actually. I removed gold. Not sure why. I can't remember why. But I removed gold. But as you can see, these are my lot sizes. So I would say this is medium risk. Like I said, because of the live delay, it does increase the lot size for the first trade, and then it will go back to normal. As you can see, tiny bit of drawdown. This, I had a couple of trades banked today. But this has mostly been just running blue all week, and here's the trades. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Since the 22nd of July, it's banked 4k. When it hits take profit, we're talking big numbers, really, really nice. Obviously, if I doubled this risk, we're talking, gonna bank 10k by now. More risk, obviously you have to accept it. If it goes against you and you end up in more drawdown, don't go and blame the strategy, don't go and blame me. Yeah. If you take higher risk, it's your decision. You have to accept it, that it's your decision. Just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, you can see the ones that I closed a little bit early, just these 2. But that was literally because, what was I gonna say? Yeah, because I looked at my phone, it was right near the take profit, so I was like, I might as well just close it. But yeah, it's been unbelievable, to be honest. It's been absolutely unbelievable. I'm probably going to run this on another 10 pairs. Now, the key thing here is to, like I said, you have to be really patient, but let me just go back to this. So we have to be careful not to run all the same settings, because if we're running the same settings as other people and we get exactly the same entries, then we could get flagged for copy trading. So I thought about this a lot. Let's say we'll just take the first column, just for argument's sake. It's not going to be the first column because this isn't the max ADR, but just for argument's sake. So let's say your chosen pair is AUD CAD. I would choose a pip step in between 70 and 80 and choose a random number. You might choose 71, 73. So everyone's going to have something different. You might not choose to do that. You might choose, I don't know, CHF JPY. again, choose a pip step in between 79 and 89. You know, give yourself like a 10 pip range, yeah, and just choose a number, and then obviously ask ChatGPT to half that for you and give you a take profit, which is 30% of the pip step. Okay, so that will ensure that we don't run the risk of copy trading, just by making sure we actually do keep this a little bit unique. And also, like, if you're going to run more than one pair, like choose a selection of pairs. Don't all just choose the majors. Like, choose a mixture of minors and majors. You're just going to run 2 pairs, same thing. But hopefully that makes sense. And then inside the EA, again, I'll upload the set file as an example, but we have a input that is random entry delay, I think it's called. Make sure that's set to true, because that will give you a 0 to 5 second delay on each entry, on the first entry, sorry, which will ensure that, you know, we don't all enter at exactly the same time. But yeah, absolutely unbelievable. The strategy's been great so far. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work forever. Don't hold me accountable to this. I am just sharing my own exploration and my own, you know, learnings, and I just wanted to pass it on to you. But I think it's an unbelievable way to trade the instant funded accounts. Let me just show you, right? If I go back to history, filter by symbol, Euro JPY has banked 2K in the past, well, since not Monday, but Monday before that. So it's banked 2K in 2 weeks. I could have just run this on its own, just Euro JPY, yeah, and I would have been 2K up. You need to make 5% for the first withdrawal on the 50K instant funded, yeah. I'd be £500 away from it right now in 2 weeks, yeah. You literally just need to run 1 pair. If you're going to run more than 1 pair, obviously lower the lot size, okay. You might decide to run 4 pairs, 5 pairs, but the lot size needs to be a lot lower, because otherwise you're going to run out of leverage. Now, one thing I've realized with the 50K instant funded accounts, your max lot size that can be open at any given time is in between sort of 1.3 and 1.5 lots collectively. So you need to plan for that, yeah? As you can see, so if this opens 2 trades in a sequence, that is 0.6, 0.7, I think, 0.72, something like that. So this lot size, I couldn't really go above that, because if it opens another trade, then I'm getting close to that max lot size on the account. So you need to plan your lot sizes based off of that max lot size if you're running on the instant funded accounts. Hopefully that will make sense. It can go past the max sequence. Euro JPY, when I was running this in testing before, it did go to a sequence of like 5. Yeah, so even though the sequence only says 3 or 4, you can open another trade. It could go to 6 if we get a massive move. Euro NZD went to 6 trades in the sequence. So my live delay would probably be set to 4 on Euro NZD. Now, you might decide that you don't want to go live straight away. If you're someone that's like really patient and you just want to get this in testing, you might decide that, okay, I'm going to run 10 pairs, but I'm going to run it without the live delay for a month or 2 months. I'm going to run it without the live delay. I'm going to let all the drawdown and profit build up. Then I'm going to review the max sequence of each pair. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, you come to history, you right click, you go to columns, and you add a comment. And then this number, which is the first number in the comment, is the sequence number. So you're going to make a note, Euro USD, in the time that you've been running it, the max sequence was 5. Yeah, and then you're going to see, okay, CAD JPY, the max sequence was 3. And once you make a note of it, then you'll know where to put your live delay. Yeah, if I've seen a max sequence of 5, my live delay is probably going to go to 2. Yeah, unless I want to be really patient, then I'm going to put it to 3 or 4. Hopefully that will make sense. Let me know if you have any questions. What else was I going to show you on here? Nothing on here. Let me just come back to the chats for a second. Let me just answer any questions. Stuart, any chance on delayed trade sequence? Delayed trade sequence you can't change unless you change it in the optimization file. You can only change live delay after you've tested a set file. Can't change any other inputs apart from lot size and max lot size, which has to be in proportion, and live delay. Live delay second trade lot multiplier I don't really use. I don't really like it because it will just multiply your second lot size to be bigger than the first. So I don't really use that. Combined live delay, I always have this set to true because then it's going to combine all the trades into one trade rather than having multiple trades. It's just easier to read the data that way. Instant funded accounts do not allow hedging, so you have to you can either just run it as it is because the broker will block it anyway. It won't let you open. If you're in a buy, the broker won't let you open a sell. So you could just run it like that, or you could do what I said, take 2 correlated pairs, Euro USD, GU, long only, short only. Yeah, and that way you're covered both ways. You might see buy and sell on the same currency. Maybe you've got one of the very first accounts that come out and they've allowed you to continue. Hopefully that answers all your questions. Yeah, you can run this on the instant funded accounts. You can run this on any account really, but it's perfect for the instant funded accounts, perfect for the monthly funded accounts, and hopefully that makes sense. So next thing I wanted to show you, if you just give me a second, let me see if I can log in. Not sure if I can. Give me 2 secs. All right, let me come back to here, share my screen again. I haven't released the doc or the set file yet. I'll release it after this Q&A. I'll release it today at some point. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you. So how to create your own optimization files. It's a question I get asked a lot. So easy to do once you know how. Easiest way to do this. Go to overview, complete optimization, go to inputs, then you're left with this page, okay? What I would do is I would load up one of the optimization files that is provided, because that's the easiest way. You have to have like a baseline optimization file that you can work off of, right? So then you're going to think, okay, so what strategy do I want to create this for? Okay, I want to create a trend trading strategy, okay? So like once you know the inputs of a trend trading strategy, all you have to do is turn the indicators on and off. You don't have to like search for different values and stuff like that. It becomes so easy because, okay, so I want EMAs on. Do I want to trade lower time frame or higher time frame? Yeah. If I want to optimize something, I have to have this box ticked. If I don't want to optimize it, I untick it. And that will mean that you're literally just using this value. So this would mean that I'm using an EMA, but on H4 only. If I tick it, it means I'm optimizing M15, N30, H1, H4. Yeah. So I'm optimizing this. Now you can see it's got 4 steps because it's M15, M30, H1, H4. Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, so if I'm using kind of higher time frame indicators, the EMAs have to match. So higher time frame indicators work really well with these EMAs, 9, 21, 55 up to 10, 50, 200. I wouldn't choose higher time frame indicators and then put my EMAs down here because it doesn't really make sense. Okay. Now, if I wanted to choose a lower time frame and I wanted to go for something really aggressive, again, lower time frame stuff is going to be a lot more volatile. Yeah, that's just kind of how it is in the markets. So then I want to make sure that my EMAs match that. Okay, so now I've got lower time frames. Like it really is that simple. No need to overthink it. I know I'm probably saying it's simple. It's probably simple for me, but it's simple once you learn and you practice. It really is. I don't really change that. I know that these EMAs I want to work with give me good results every single time. So I don't need to change this unless I don't want to use EMAs. So then I'll move on to RSI. Okay, so let's say I want to use RSI. I need to make sure that this is set to true. Again, I'm going to choose higher time frame RSI. Yeah, M30 to H4. Okay, so you've got a step of 3. RSI periods, you know, you might go 4, 4, 24. Now I've got a step of 6. And I'm not going to change that for anything. I don't need to go and change. I don't need to go like, oh, I want to look at 50 and I want to look at 30. There's no need to do that. You just literally stick to the same values every single time. You might change the RSI sell level. So I might go, okay, I only want to check from 70 to 90. Yeah, or I only want to check from 55 to 75. I don't want to go too high. You might change this, but you wouldn't really change the RSI period because you don't need to do that. Yeah. So then I've got my RSI set. Then I'm like, okay, do I want to add an ADX? True, if I do. I want to tick the box because I want to optimize this M30 to H4. Let me just come back to the chat to make sure this is actually working. M30 to H4. My ADX period is always set to 7/7/28. I don't ever change the ADX period. Don't need to. Yeah, the periods can just stay as they are. Even if it's a range strategy, even if it's against trend. My ADX threshold would need to change based on the strategy. If you're trying to build a trend trading strategy, then your ADX threshold should be between 25 and 45 because that shows that there's going to be it's a momentum indicator. So there's going to be an indication that we're in a strong trend is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I don't need to change that for all of my trend set files, opt files. Sorry. If I want to add a Bollinger Band, I could either decide, okay, I don't know if I want to add a Bollinger Band or not. I'm going to let the optimization decide. So I'm going to tick the box. I'm going to have this set to off and this set to avoid extreme trend. Again, I want to go for higher time frame indicators. I want to optimize the Bollinger Band period 20 to 60. Could probably change this to 100 if you wanted. I just usually leave it as that. And the deviations, don't ask me what this means because I don't know. 1 to 3 with a step of 5, 0.5. Okay, so this is just gonna, this strategy here, this trend trading strategy is gonna be higher time frames. It's gonna be working with an EMA, an RSI, and an ADX. And I'm gonna let the optimization decide if we should add a Bollinger Band or not. Okay, and that's the first part. That's all there is to it. Now I've got my trend trading strategy. Now when I create a different optimization file, I could go, okay, this time I don't want to use an RSI. I want to run a different strategy. So I'm going to untick all the boxes and leave this set to false. So now I've got an optimization file that's EMA, ADX, Bollinger Bands. Now I've got a different strategy, yeah? So now I've got 2 optimization files. Like I said in the beginning of the Q&A, when you're setting up a testing portfolio, you want to run as many different strategies as possible. This is how you do it. You just create different optimization files, run different tests, and get it all loaded up onto your account. And then you can see which ones actually work best rather than sticking to just one strategy. So now I've got 2. Okay, now I want to create a different one. So this time I'm going to untick EMAs. I don't want to use EMAs. I'm going to have that set to false. I'm going to use RSI again. So I'm going to turn this to true. I want to tick the boxes. Again, I don't need to change these values. Now I've got RSI, ADX, Bollinger Band, 3 op files. In the space of, how long is that taking me? 3 minutes, maybe? I might decide, okay, I don't want Bollinger Bands at all. Now I've got another op file. That's 4 op files, RSI and ADX. I might say, okay, I don't want ADX on. Okay, set that to false. Bollinger Bands, I want to set that to avoid extreme trend. Tick these boxes. Don't need to change the values. Now I've got RSI and Bollinger Bands, 5 op files. Yeah, there's your trend trading strategies done basically. Before we go on to the other inputs. Okay. Now, if I want to create a range strategy to go with it, again, this will get better the more you practice and the more you see what comes out good. Like once you have an opt file that works well, you don't really need to go and change it every time. So you don't need to go and create like 50 different opt files. Use ChatGPT if you don't know what all this stuff means. Like use YouTube, do your own research, because the more you learn, the better. Okay, so now I want to create a range trading strategy. I'm going to keep the same time frames. I'm going to keep the same EMA periods. I'm going to change this to range and market. I'm going to use an EMA and an RSI. So I don't need to change this. This is already set. And I'm going to use Bollinger Bands. So now I've got EMA, RSI, Bollinger Bands, range. Now I want to add an ADX. I'm going to tick the boxes because I want to optimize them. I need to change this to range and market. It can't be set to range and market and trend because that doesn't make any sense. My ADX threshold for a range and market would be set to 15 and 25 because that indicates that we're in a range and market. Yeah. Now I've got my range and market. Like it literally is that simple. Against trend. Let's do against trend. Set this to against trend, higher time frame, against trend. I want to go for really high RSI because I want to enter when we're overbought or oversold because that's going to be a good indicator of a reversal. Yeah, so now my RSI is set to against trend. If I add an ADX, that would have to go to against trend there. Remember, trend is 25 to 45 on the ADX threshold. So I need to go from 45 to 55 if I'm looking for against trend or a reversal. I don't need to change anything else. Okay. Bollinger Bands, I could set this to only extreme counter trend. Now I've got an against trend op file. I can untick this, untick that. You get the idea. That covers basically the indicators. Really, really easy just to chop and change. Once you have the value set, don't need to do anything else. I could say I don't optimize with live delay on. I add it afterwards. Delay trade sequence. Yeah, 0 to 10 with a step of 2. I usually set that on most of my op files. That's just gonna let the optimization decide if we need a delay in the trades and give us a better entry. You might not. ATR periods, I usually just set it to this, 500, 500 and 2,500. Pip step, if you're using ATR, I usually just go from -2 up to -20 like this. Okay. And again, I won't really change that. Once this is set, I'm going to use these values, all of my optimization files. I don't really need to go and chop and change all these. I used to, but then I realized like, I don't really need to do that. It's kind of wasting time. Once you find something that works, stick to it. All you need to do is change the indicators on what ones you want to use so you can create different strategies and cover different things. Reverse sequence direction, have that optimized true or false. I'm not going to go into what these all mean because it would just take me forever. I do all of my backtesting like this. Martingale is capped at 1.5 now. I don't want it to go higher than that because because it can be quite risky. I do all of my testing on 0.01 and 0.1, okay? Because I start like this, and what I see live in the live market, I then increase, but I don't increase straight away because it's just how I work. No take profit and blah, blah, blah. So that's basically set. That is my optimization file right there. Chop and change the different indicators. Keep all this the same. Like I said, load up one of the op files provided and work off of that. And this becomes really, really, really easy to create a bunch of different strategies. There's so many that you could run. Create 5 of each: 5 for trend, 5 for range, 5 for against trend. Run it on all the same pairs, get it uploaded onto one terminal. You have a bunch of different set files that you can then analyze in the live market, pick out the best ones, put them onto your main portfolio, and then you'll be absolutely flying. I need to breathe. So let me just come back to the chat, so I'm running out of time. Let me just read through a few questions. Yep, I'm going to share the document and I'm going to share the example set file. No, the set file will not be released as, so for the strategy that I shared before, you don't need an optimization file. You literally just load it up onto a chart. Let's say just load up the Banker EA exactly how it is onto a chart. The default settings of the Power Banker EA will be with all the indicators off, yeah? And then you literally just change pip set, take profit, and live delay, and that's it. Nothing else to it. That's literally it. Oh, and lot size, obviously. So 4 different settings. The settings will be different for each pair, but you just use the either the document or the website and ChatGPT to set it up. All right, so let me just go into a few questions so I can get this wrapped up, because I'm really struggling. How do other settings such as take profit, lock profit, and trading stop loss influence your sequence, opt files, profit, and drawdown without having to adjust lot sizes? Also, do you suggest having a TP for sequence trading strategies that are not your... No, I wouldn't really use a take profit for sequence trading because your lock profit and trading stop is going to kick in before that anyway. So no, I wouldn't use a take profit for sequence trading. So the other settings, how do they influence your profit and drawdown? Again, play about with it. Set up an optimization file with maybe a bigger trading stop loss and a bigger lock profit, and see how it plays out. Personally, I don't really do that. I used to do that, but then it become just a waste of time. And I was like, it's just like, you don't really need to do that. Like once you have your lock profit and your trading stop loss set, for me, I wouldn't really go and change it. So for example, if it's set to like 5.5 and 1.5, I would use that on all of my opt files because I know that it works well. It's going to get me in and out of sequences quite quickly. The higher you go with the lock profit and the trading stop loss, the longer it takes to close the sequence. Yeah, so whilst it can be beneficial, as in when you're in profit, the sequence is going to go into running blue, but then you're going to be like, oh, I want it to close. Shall I close it manually? Because it's not closed yet, because you've increased your trading stop loss and lock profit. Now, that can be good because you kind of bank more. However, it can be bad as well because when it goes the other way, and you're in drawdown, it takes a lot longer for it to then pull back and then close. So I just set it to like something that I'm comfortable with, and then I just leave it on all the opt files. Hopefully that answers your question. Wow, that is a long question. Abigail Miller, Kevin kindly posted your question. I'll work my way through it. To re-optimize set files. Yeah, when to re-optimize set files, I usually re-optimize them based off of the max sequence number. If the max sequence number is 13 to 20 trades, based on what I see live, that for me is an indicator that I need to re-optimize it. If it doesn't do that, I'm not going to re-optimize it. If the set file isn't taking any trades, then I'll probably re-optimize it as well. Unless, of course, you've seen in the backtest that it has really low trade volume. So then you've already seen that it's got low trade volume, right? There's no need to change it in that case. But if it's just like kind of gone dead, then obviously change it. No other reason why I'd re-optimize a set file. Maybe if I didn't like it, I based that decision off of the sequence number, and that's it. That for me has really simplified everything. When I wasn't doing this, it was like a guessing game. It was like, do I re-optimize it now? Like, oh, but I saw it bank last week, and this week it went into drawdown, and like it was just a mess, and I didn't know when to re-optimize. Now it's based off of max sequence. It's all streamlined, and I've got clear indicators of when to optimize, what to increase risk on, what to put on my main portfolios, and so on. What to do if you find yourself in deep drawdown on a particular set file that goes on for months. Good question. Yeah, quite difficult decision to make because so I'm in a trade right now. I'm in a sequence right now. I've been in it for at least a month, maybe 6 weeks now. Euro GBP. If you look at the chart, massive uptrend. Now, For me, my risk is so low that I'm not bothered about it. If your risk is high, different story. But because my risk is so low, it's handled this massive trend. So I have confidence in it. I'm like, it's handled the biggest trend that we've seen for a long, long time. So, and it's only at 1.5k drawdown. So I'm like, this is great. I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to try and force it to close. I'm just going to let it play out. If you look at the chart and you have your EMAs set on the chart, go to TradingView or open MT5, put the 200 EMA on your chart. Yeah. Now, if you look at H4 chart, you've got the 200 EMA on it. Now, Euro GBP pulled back to the 200 EMA. So it will use that as like a, let's say a support. Yeah. As a support level. Now, when it hit 200 EMA, I could close it then because that for me is an indicator. Like just based off of experience, it's probably going to hit the 200 EMA and then go back up, and the same the other way around. So when it hits that 200 EMA, I'm like, I could close this now, and then it gets me out of the sequence. I'm going to take a 1k loss. That's okay because I'm at peace with making that decision, and also it gets me out of the sequence, and then everything kicks on and goes again. But it's just about what feels best for you. Like, you might not feel comfortable doing that. You might be like, you might be holding on and wait for it to close. There's no right or wrong. I can't make you decide what's right. I can just tell you what to just accept your decision, whatever you decide to do. If you're in deep drawdown though, those two words, deep drawdown, I'm like, risk is too high. If you're in deep drawdown, I'm like, that triggers my brain into thinking, well, you're using too high a risk. It shouldn't be deep drawdown. For me, 1.5k drawdown, that's not deep drawdown. That's like still not ideal, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's not huge. If you're seeing more than that, then I'd question or ask you to analyze your risk management and your lot sizes. Euro NZD, set of 5 positions, beginning of June between 0.7. Okay, so yeah, so you've got 0.07 lots and 0.35 lots. All depends on the account size. Yeah, I've made a rule on my accounts. Let's say a 100k account. I don't ever want to see a lot size bigger than 0.3. That is the absolute max lot size that I want to see. Most of my lot sizes start at 0.01 to 0.05. I rarely go above that. If it's a fixed lot size, it might be 0.1 max. Yeah, that ensures that I do not get stressed and I don't see massive drawdown and I'm not overexposed, blah blah blah. And now you say no sign of reversal, but how do you know? Yeah, like, how do you know? That's just a guess. No one knows. No one knows if it's going to reverse. You can draw technical analysis and all that stuff, but if you don't know how to deal with that, you don't really know if it's going to reverse or not. I didn't think, what was it, Euro USD on NFP day? I didn't think it was going to really go anywhere because NFP day the last few months has been a bit quiet. Saw a massive spike up, closed my positions. I didn't think it was going to happen. It did happen. Never think that something's not going to happen because it always can. I guess the answer to your question of what you're asking is like, do I close it or not? Ask yourself this question. Is it making you stressed? Are you thinking about it all day long? Is it giving you anxiety? If the answer is yes, then you need to close it and just take the loss. Yeah, because then you're going to be at peace. Like, I don't want you walking around with anxiety and stress attached to you, because that's not, like, no, it's not nice to live with, and also it affects the rest of your decision making and it affects the rest of your life. So if it's causing you stress, then close it. If it's not and you're okay with it, then leave it. Yeah, that's what I would say. That's a great way to make a decision. Is this affecting the rest of my life? If the answer is yes, close it. Would you be at peace if you closed it? Yes. Okay, close it. Do you know when will indices be available in POW accounts? I don't really know, to be honest. It's not something that I deal with. It all depends on the broker. It's not anything to do with POW. We've asked for it many times. We've asked for different things, different rules, different leverage, but it all depends on the broker because they're managing risk on their side, because they are backing the trades with real capital. It's not like prop firms where it's all simulated. They are literally backing every trade. So it all depends on them, I'm afraid. I'm fairly new in the POW community. Welcome. In my understanding so far, the EA is designed to work on the M1 timeframe. Yep. However, I assume we can decide to use different timeframes in the op files to have portfolios working on different times. Yeah, so the EA runs on the M1 timeframe, but the indicators can work off of all different timeframes. Yeah, so I would kind of stick to that. It's not that you have to set the indicators to M1. That would be really volatile, by the way. So don't do that. But yeah, it has to run on the M1 timeframe. If a set file has been performing following 6-month optimization work, what 1 or 2 variables would you tweak to tune? So you can't change any input on a set file apart from lot size, max lot size, and live delay. If a set file has been tested, you cannot go in and change things. Someone done this the other day, big mistake, running it on live capital, super stressful. It will change the whole set file. Yeah, so let's say a set file has been tested on a pip step of 20 as an example, and you afterwards change it to 10. Now it's working completely different to what you tested. Yeah, so you can't go and chop and change things. You can only change lot size and max lot size in proportion. If your max lot size is 1 and your lot size is 0.1, then they have to move it at the same rate. You couldn't change one to 0.05 and the other one to like 2 because it's not at the same rate. So you have to change them in proportion. Live delay doesn't change the mechanics of the set file. It's just delaying when those trades actually get taken. Still going to take the trades, it's just delaying it. Last few questions, guys, because I need to go. Where do you create and run these testing portfolios? DarwinX, and if so, the demo or live version. So I do all of my testing on DarwinX Live. I use DarwinX Live as the to get the tick data. Personally, I think it's better than using a demo account. So I do all my testing on DarwinX Live. I then upload it onto a DarwinX demo. Yeah, DarwinX Live, you don't have to have 100K in your account. You can just use a DarwinX Live account with £0 in it, and you're just using the tick data and yeah, just as it is. Do all your testing on that, upload it onto DarwinX demo, let it run. It will work out exactly the same. Very, 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 very minor differences. If anything, I found it to be a lot better and a lot more stable. And then, yeah, I'm just creating them exactly how it is in the normal process. I've got a very probably unique process to what I do in terms of portfolio builder. I don't use portfolio picker. I don't use set compare. That's a different story. So I just repeat the process, and yeah, that's all there is to it. I don't know what to say. I literally just shared it with you. Like, go rewatch this again. I've shared it step by step, exactly what to do and what to find and how to upload it. Once I get time, I will upload the document, but you don't even need the document. You just need to rewatch this video and follow the steps. The document is just there to make it easier for new members and if you want to refer back to it, but you don't even need to do that. You just literally repeat what I've gone through in the Q&A, mate. When optimizing for delayed trade sequence, is this just giving you an idea on whether a live delay would be beneficial? No. So delayed trade sequence and live delay are two different things. How do I explain this? Delayed trade sequence is delaying when you enter a sequence. Live delay is not delaying when you enter. Well, it is. How do I explain this? Delayed trade sequence. So let's say there's a delay trade sequence of 4. The first trade is going to get taken when it hits 5. So that would be your first trade. Live delay, if you have a live delay of 4, you're still going to take those 4 trades, but only if the 5th trade gets met. Delay trade sequence, 5th trade gets met, 1 trade. The live delay, 5th trade gets met, 5 trades. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. It's quite hard to get your head around. Delay trade sequence, just delaying, potentially giving you a better entry. Live delay, we're still going to take those trades, but we're going to take them all in one go if the criteria gets met. If it doesn't get met, then we're not going to take those trades. Yeah. So what live delay does is basically if you have a set file that opens 500 trades in a sequence and you put not in a sequence, it opens 500 trades in a backtest and you add a live delay of something quite high or whatever it might be, you could condense that trade volume down to like 50. So instead of having 500 trades in your backtest, you might have 50, which means your risk can go up a little bit, but you're going to get a much better entry on those 50 trades. For me, I use live delay because I'm trying to reduce the amount of trades that I have in a sequence. Yeah. So I don't want to see like big sequences on my account. I'd rather it just open and close 1 or 2 trades, 1 or 3 trades, 1 or 4 trades in the sequence. I don't want to see 15 or 20. So live delay reduces the likelihood of that happening. It can still happen. It will still happen at some stage, but we're just trying to stack the odds in our favor. Delay trade sequence, that's why I just let the optimization decide what's best. It might decide that you don't need one. It might decide that you need a delay trade sequence of 5 and so on and so on. Different strategies work well with none and different strategies work well with some. That just comes with experience and testing and knowing what you're looking at. Another day, I can't go through that right now. Hopefully that makes sense, mate. All right, guys. So let me just come back to the chat for the last couple of minutes. Abigail Miller, I believe I just answered that. So hopefully my responses help you make a decision. If it's causing you stress, close it. If you're not that bothered, detach yourself away from it, forget about it. It will close when it's ready. For example, like I said, that Euro GBP set file that I've got running, it's been in there for 6 weeks. Many times I thought to myself, do I need to close? Shall I close it? Not really bothered. I don't care. If it closes, it closes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it pulls back to the 200 EMA again, then I'm probably going to close it. But right now, legend, thank you very much. Do you know what? I just want to say I really, really appreciate everyone saying thank you and like giving me feedback on the Q&As, because it really keeps me motivated to like keep doing it, and to like every week I'm like discovering new things and I'm testing, and the only reason I'm doing it is so I can give it back to you guys. Like I've got all my stuff set, and it's like, obviously I'm trying to improve that at the same time, but it's just I know I could impact the community more, and like I said before, like I'm in a privileged position to obviously work for POW and I don't have to pay for my subscription. I think it's my duty to go and do that. Like I would feel bad if I didn't do that, because it's my duty as someone that works for POW to impact the community in the way that I can. And when I've got the power to do that, it makes me feel really good about myself. So that's, yeah, I really appreciate it, man. I really do. Getting emotional. Getting emotional. It's been a really tough week, so I really appreciate the love. Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, I need to go before I start crying. I'm joking. I need to go because I'm actually losing my voice. Really appreciate it, guys. As a newcomer, welcome to POW, man. Welcome to POW. One thing I would say about people that have just joined, it can be overwhelming in terms of the information that you're going to see inside the education and blah, blah, blah. Take your time. Take your time to work through it. I know everyone's in a rush because they need to make money, but you need to take the time and just like digest it all and use the community as much as you can. As you can see in the chats, everyone's really helpful. Everyone's really friendly, and like, that's what makes us so powerful, is like everyone sticks together. So you need to start asking questions in the chats, use the support channels as much as you can. And the success will come. The only way to guarantee that you fail is if you quit. Yeah. So this is all about making sure that you put in the time, even if you only have half hour a day. That's all it needs. Yeah. So put in the time and it will come. But you have to be very, very dedicated, and it's not going to happen by chance. If it was, we all wouldn't be here. We'd all be joining Stuart on his yacht. So yeah, just wanted to say that. But yeah, see you later, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the ADR reversal strategy. Let me know if you need any help. I'll release the document and the set file later. Have a good weekend and speak soon.